Welcome back to the Overcomer podcast. You guys, thank you guys so much for choosing to watch and listen to this episode. Today, I am so excited because I am going to be talking about my life-changing experience in Cuba, how my trip went. And you guys, I'm just so overwhelmed with so much gratitude, and I'm just happy. I'm happy that I was able to go to experience that. Obviously, I've traveled different places, but clearly nothing has impacted me more than Cuba. And honestly, it is very humbling. It is a life-changing experience. So I want to be able to talk about that with you guys. See maybe if you are interested and shed some light on what exactly is happening over there, because it genuinely changed my life. I was out there for almost 2 weeks. I was staying at a hotel for the first couple days, and then I went to go stay in Alquizar, which is a little pueblito right there in Artemisa, like 30-40 minutes away out of Havana. And let me tell you, well, when I first stayed in Havana, it is gorgeous, beautiful. The architecture, you feel like you are time traveling. Like you're stuck in I don't even know what time, era or age this would be, but you still see people riding on horse carriages. Like that is their form of travel. There's like these called bici taxis, where their taxis are people on bicycles. What else? You just see people. I'm going to kind of go everywhere in the sense, because as I go and I remember everything, I do remember like a lot of people walking without shoes, barefoot. Some people liked to be barefoot. Like there would be kids playing in the little streets, playing soccer, baseball. I saw a lot of pregnant women with babies without diapers on. No underwear, nothing. Like they just, and it's so sad because you see people living over here and they obviously, it's a luxury. Honestly, living in the United States is a luxury and it is a blessing. You do not know. And this is probably going to be controversial and people are going to probably hate me for this, but it is a legit blessing to live in the United States and to be born here and raised here and have the opportunities that we have, because in a country like that, yes, it is a communist country. They are given water, they're given power, they're given certain things, but also limited. You go into a grocery store, their grocery stores don't even exist because they don't have things on the shelves. There's 2 water bottles that they can sell, and that's it. There's no hygiene products. There's no wipes, there's no diapers, there's no baby food. When you go into a restaurant, they always let you know, like, oh, this is what we're able to feed you today. So if I wanted croquetas one day and I would be like, oh, hay croqueta, no, there's no croquetas. There's only pechuga de pollo, rice, beans, platanito maduro, and that's it, which is fine for me. And I've gotten that question. I asked you guys on Instagram questions about if you guys had any questions for me about Cuba. And one of them was, what did I eat when I was out there? And let me tell you, I'd never considered myself a picky person until I actually got to Cuba, and I felt very pushed out of my comfort zone because their main like food is rice, beans, which I can eat, but they have a lot of pork. They eat a lot of, mainly pork. They eat chicken thighs. I'm very picky. For my personal preference, I prefer to have chicken breast, which is again a luxury over there. Like it's very, it's kind of hard to access. And cow, if you kill a cow over there, it's kind of like a law thing. Like you can't. So they have very little to none, like res. Their ropa vieja, and there was a cool fact, ropa vieja, which is one of the dishes there in Cuba, is made out of horse, which kind of made me sad because I've never had horse, but I didn't eat it. But again, it kind of just shows you the necesidad and like what they're limited to. Stayed there for a couple days, stayed at the hotel, which at some point for me, it was a blessing. Obviously, I had Wi-Fi, but then I felt guilty. It's just the type of person that I am. There's people out in the streets, their houses are built out of like nothing. Some of them don't even have roofs. They have like aluminum. Some houses were flooding. There was one day we were going to go eat at a restaurant, like at a beach. And we couldn't because the current was coming over the walls and it was flooding into the city and into their houses. And people are just sitting there like so normal. And they were just sitting outside looking and watching, and there's nothing else to do. There's literally nothing else to do but to sit there, drink beer, play dominoes, and that's it. They don't have to technically get a job because they're basically given everything. And it's really sad to me because when I was giving out stuff, I had the opportunity, and I'm lucky and I'm blessed enough to be able to take 4 big luggages full of medicines because they don't have medicine, all the stuff that they need, necessities, clothes from Overcomfort, just to give. And whenever I ran out, I would give money, and they're like, we don't need money. Like, we can't do anything with this money. Their currency, their pricing is so insane. Like, for 1 pack of eggs is 10 American dollars, which for them, depending on, let me do the math. Let me do that really quick. 10 times, like, let's say the peso's at 350. 350 times. That's like 3,500 pesos, which is moneda nacional. And that's not easy. Like, doctors make $20 a month. And that's basically what they live off of over there. So it kind of puts everything into perspective. They're very limited. They can't, it's not accessible. And I'm so grateful for this journey and for being able to go and visit and really put things into perspective, because it was just sad. Like, it was sad for me to see, like, little kids, like, they were playing with rocks. They were playing with old little deflated balls, and that's their normal life. Like, and I remember being able to give things out, and I took a bunch of candies. Vibe, relax. I took a bunch of candies. I took candies. I took toys, and their faces, like, they looked like, wow, like it was Christmas for them. And for me, I love kids. I genuinely love kids. And I fell in love with this one little boy who just looked at me with his beautiful blue crystal eyes. He was güerito. And he just looked like, oh my God, like, thank you. Like, his eyes lit up. And every day, ever since that I've been back, I've been praying to God. I'm like, God, just please bring some justice to Cuba. Bring some type of, I don't know, something. Like, they're in need. I had conversations with people. I spoke with a mom who took her son to the doctor because he had constant headaches. And they sent him home because they didn't have anything for him. They didn't have ibuprofen. They didn't have Tylenol. They're like, we're sorry, we don't have anything to give you guys. And for me, that was so heartbreaking because I can easily get in my car and drive 2 minutes, or even get it Ubered, DoorDashed, or whatever, get medicine. Like, it's so easy for us, and they struggle. And I don't know. I really didn't notice how much I take life for granted until I went to Cuba. And I really recommend everybody going there to really just go with the open heart and mind. People were asking me, like, do you think I should go? Someone asked me, do you think your siblings can do it? And I said, no, I feel like my siblings' hearts are so big that it would just be too heartbreaking. Like, they would probably never want to leave. And I generally, at some point, even with the power outages, like, the government could turn off the power whenever they want. There'd be times where I would go to sleep without taking a shower because the water would be turned off, and obviously it's humid. It's like the air, you feel sticky, you feel gross. You're sweating all day. It was nasty. And I was like, wow, like, thank you, God. Like, I came home and was like, thank you, God, for this home. Thank you for my AC. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. And it's really just opened my eyes. And, really learn to appreciate life. And I think about them all every day. And I've gotten to the point where I'm really praying and I'm really considering, like, I want to open a foundation. I want to close something and start something new, to be able to be a blessing, to help foster children or, people in need like Cuba. I don't know. That's just the dream of my heart. I want to open a nonprofit organization and really put my dedication into this because, again, it is just, you don't know what life is like until you go visit Cuba. We're going to go on a quick break and we'll be right back to talk more about Cuba. I asked you guys on Instagram if you guys had any questions about my trip to Cuba, and I'm going to go ahead and answer them now. Okay. My family and I are going in November and want to help out. Where do you recommend? Okay, I recommend taking a lot of medications, first aid kits, bug spray, deodorant, toothpaste. I remember talking to someone and they said that they spent a whole week trying to find toothpaste. And I had it in my luggage and I was like, you should have told me I had it, and I had given it away to somebody else. And I was like, whatever. Anyways, things like that, personal hygiene, razors. And I feel like anywhere. I feel like there's not one specific place where they don't need it. Like they're all on the same class level where it just hay necesidad por todas partes. And it's just, if you have the time and the funds and to give something, please do. Please do. Can anyone visit Cuba? What is the process? I was able to visit Cuba through tourism. I got my visa for over there. It wasn't hard for me. Obviously, if your family is from Cuba, you're able to say you have your family visit. But the only thing is that, and I didn't have this problem, but people do have problems bringing stuff. If you're going to bring stuff for the refugees, you have to kind of act normal. In Mexico, when you guys go through the airport, you have to press like a red button or a green button. And if you get the green button, you're good to go. If you get the red button, they have to check all of your luggages. Luckily, it's kind of like that, but without the buttons in Cuba. They just kind of just look at you and they'll let you go. If not, you have to get all of your luggage checked. And if they check your luggages and they see all the stuff in there, they can either confiscate it and take it for themselves because they need it as well, or they will charge you a certain fee. So at that point, it's all by risk and fingers crossed and by prayers of God that you get past and they don't check your bags. Okay. How did you get money there? Like, did you take cash to exchange it, debit card? Okay, so you're not allowed to open your bank accounts over there. You open them. You can open them. It's just you can't transfer the internet. It just won't let you. The apps are very limited over there. Like TikTok does not exist over there, which was I was so grateful for. So before leaving, I took cash out in Miami because I had a layover in Miami. I would go and exchange and change the currency. For Americans, it is, depending on certain restaurants, it may be better to pay in their dollar than our dollar. Either way, it's a lot cheaper. And for example, like a plate of lobster. If you're out here in boiling crabs, lobsters are like what, $50? Over there, I got lobster almost every day for $7 to $10 with a plate of rice, beans, and whatever. And obviously, I would never want to take advantage of that, but it is what was available. But yeah, so I would definitely recommend going to change it before you get there and changing it before you come back, because they do not accept any Cuban dollars in the airport. So don't go buy souvenirs at the airport with Cuban dollars because they won't take it. They only take American dollars. That was a fun fact I figured out when I got there. What was there something you couldn't find in Cuba that you can find here anywhere? And honestly, anything. as simple as water. Like, it's so easy to find water here, and it's so hard to find it there. There was one time where I wanted to make them ceviche, and obviously they don't have a lot of tomatoes. Their tomatoes are like this small. Onions are this small. Bell peppers are this small. They don't have any chiles. So I would honestly say everything is so hard to find over there. One of my friends had gotten her period, and she had to use paper towel wipes, toilet paper, which also, again, is like, we can't use so much toilet paper because this is the only toilet paper that we have left. So you guys can kind of see where it's at, and, prepare yourselves, bring your own things. Also bring stuff to give if you are able to. Why did you decide to go to Cuba? Cuba has always been on the list to go. I love traveling in general. I was going for birthday, and then it was somebody's birthday, and then I just wanted to go in general. I extended my stay just to hang around and, take in the culture and experience it for myself. And I definitely do not regret it. It was the connection I felt so connected with people. My phone didn't work a lot of the time. And when I did, I would even just not be on my phone. Like, if I had signal, I was just like, I do not care about this stuff right now. Like, I'm enjoying my time being off of my phone, talking to these people, hearing their stories, knowing, who they are and what they do. And honestly, it was so full of purpose. And again, I'm so grateful. Did you try a Cuban cigar? I did not. I'm not a huge cigar. I feel like that's more of like a boy thing. I would be down. It wasn't for me. I don't really care. But I did visit I believe it's Vinales, where they created the first cigars over there. And it was beautiful. They have like a whole jungle. I definitely recommend it. That's like 2 hours from Havana. You can go in the jungles, you can go in the caves, and there's like waterfalls and all that beautiful stuff as well. Did you feel safe? Yes, I felt safe. I'm just a very precautious person anyways. I always have my purse on me. I always make sure that the doors are locked, all that stuff. But over there was no crime. They have no guns. They have no weapons. They don't have anything that they can harm you with. That's pretty much it. If they were to hurt me, it's like a huge fine. Obviously, I wouldn't, snitch or whatever, but it is very like a huge precaution. Like, if they're surrounded by Americans, they know that they have to be very, very, very careful. So yes, I did feel safe. How many days/weeks do you recommend going? So my original stay was for a week. I stayed a couple days more. I loved it. I genuinely just felt like I wanted to be there, but you cannot go to Cuba unless you have a flight back. So they need all that information as well. So make sure you get a round trip, because they need to know when you're coming back. You can't stay there. But I do definitely recommend going for like a week and a half. Really depends. If you're like me, you might just fall in love with it and want to stay longer. But yeah, I feel like that's enough time to go ahead and visit. I definitely do want to go back, just because I feel like I want to go visit and tour the rest of the island and get to know it. And you know what's crazy? There's this place called El Malecón, right? And there's a wall, and then there's the ocean. You're staring across, and you could see Miami. Like, you could see the lights of Miami. It is 90 miles away from Havana, Cuba. So they're just Cubans. They're standing there looking and literally dreaming of just going 90 miles to Miami. And it's literally physically I want to say impossible, because there's been people that made the lanchas, and they go on the boat, and they've made it. Some people don't make it. And to go seek refuge in the United States. And it was just, I don't know. Coming back home, I would see it as like, wow, this is a blessing to be able to say that I'm born and raised here in the United States. Obviously, I love being Latina, but again, like, I feel like a lot of people take the United States for granted, and it's not like, it's nothing like any other country. And I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. We're going to go on a quick break and we'll be right back to talk more about Cuba. All right, you guys, welcome back. The people were very nice. They know how to party. They party. They drink a lot. If you're Latina like me, Mexican specifically, they have very limited tequila over there. I was on Jose Cuervo and it was just, if you know, it's just not the best. But it is very... I had to try other things. I had to try rum. I had to try... I think it's called Havana Club. Their main alcohol over there. Beers. I stopped drinking beer. I started drinking beer over there again because there was nothing else to drink. So I would show them, like, this is how you drink like a michelada. I would put the lemon. I would put the salt. Not a michelada, but I would just like prepararle, like, very, very nice. And they loved it. There was at a point also where I cut the mangoes and I had a little tajin bottle and they don't have nothing de picante over there. So I was also stressed. I was like, fuck, like I need spicy food, like bad. And I knew I should have brought my tapatio bottle, but whatever. I had my tajin. I had found it in the middle of the trip and I gave mango con limon y tajin and everybody loved it. And they were all spiced out. I'm like, you guys think it's spicy? But yeah, I definitely, as far as food, as far as the ambiance, people being nice, like it's always a good time. They're the sweetest people. If you just sit down and have a conversation with them and not being like scared or being, I feel like you have to humble yourself and meet them there and kind of just listen to them. You'll get along with them. How dangerous it is over there. At any time did you feel unsafe? I don't remember feeling unsafe. I felt pretty okay where I was staying at, even when I was in the pueblo. Like, people don't come, like, they mind their own business. People are doing their own thing. Yes, people stare at you, but you're also American. Like, when you're American, like, people know you're not a part of them. But it never felt dangerous or unsafe. Even when the power went out, even when there was no water, like, I just felt like I was just a normal day, normal lives. So no, I don't feel like it's dangerous. The only thing is that when I was giving stuff away, like, they would try to reach in and grab something else. And that's the only time. Obviously, like, I personally would keep my phone away when I was giving stuff away, just in case. But other than that, like, no one's going to go and steal your phone. No one's going to go and grab your purse. Like, it's just, it is what it is. So it just, again, I didn't feel unsafe. What do you feel about the political climate? I don't want to talk too much about it because I also want to be able to go back to Cuba. But I do want to say that it is very unfair. It's very unfair. Like, the people that work with the government have these big, gorgeous houses with security guards in front. They're gated. And then you drive 5 minutes away and then you see these people's houses, little small houses, cement houses with no roofs sometimes, just sitting outside with nothing. And these people that work for the government have these gorgeous, gorgeous houses, cut plants, trees, everything looks so presentable and beautiful. And the embassies were just gorgeous as well. It is a little sad. It's very sad. And again, like, I would love to I don't know, somehow do more. I feel like what I took wasn't enough. It's never enough. Like, I feel like, damn, like, I even manipulated or gaslit myself. I'm like, you could have done more. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why didn't you bring more? But then I realized it's like, you know what? Like, I can't provide for the whole country. At least not right now. I mean, I don't know. Maybe one day I'm able to, but it's just, it is unfair. And I want to go visit other countries that are maybe in the same situation. Like, Venezuela, Russia, are also communist countries. Puerto Rico is always out of power as well. So I just have a heart and I want to be able to be a blessing to people as well. And I think more than anything, another question was, what did it teach you? I think it just taught me how to value life. Like, I stopped caring about TikTok and all the drama that happens on TikTok or whatever. I come back, I turn on my phone and I'm just like, wow, this is really what everybody cares about. Like, the drama about, social status. And it's just like, no, like, you go, when you're there, it's just such simple life. Like, You eat food, you play games, you drink beer, and you hang out, and you're just grateful to God that you got to make it another day with what you had. And again, obviously, like, I had more things. I was provided with more things, and I was able to take my own things. But seeing, and if you were to be in their position as well, waiting for the possibility of their chance to get a family member to make it to the States, to get parole, and to be able to claim you as a resident, like, you have to think about that. I would ask people, have you ever decided that you wanted to go on the boat? Or have you ever decided to go, in another way, shape, or form? And yeah, there's people that have jumped on the boat, jumped in the water 3-4 times, and obviously they couldn't make it. Then there's people whose daughters have had to leave them. Like, they go and they make it through, and they don't see their families for a long time until that family member gets their residency in the United States, and then they're able to claim them as a refugee or whatever. So I think more than anything, I've learned to appreciate my life. Like, I could be so angry, or I could be so stressed out about this, or that. And then I think about Cuba and what I experienced, and it's just like, I really have no reason to complain. I really don't. And I took a moment to realize, like, wow, when people would tell you, like, you're not going to finish eating that. There's people in Africa, there's kids in Africa that are starving. And I really lived those moments because I would get full. I would get so full, and I would feel so guilty leaving the food. And I'd be like, no, like, let me eat it, because then they would see it as disrespectful if I were to give my food to somebody, and, like, it would be offensive to them. And I didn't want that to happen either. But it's like, damn, like, yeah, there's people out here starving, really starving. There's people that go to sleep hungry, and they're not able to eat because they weren't able to make money to go, I don't know, go get a chicken or find rice or whatever. But overall, it was a beautiful experience. And again, I really think that if you have the opportunity, please go. And I really just hope that one day I'm able to go back and to be a blessing and to open my foundation. And really, if anything, I come back and I want to share with you guys that life is so short, and life is so little. It's very limited, and I just would hope that it's not taken for granted. I feel like God has a plan, and one day Cuba will be free and everyone can live a happy life. That is my dream. That's my dream for the Cubans and people that live in these certain circumstances. But I think more than anything, I've learned to appreciate life and just thank God for, what I have now, and really share my experience with you guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching and listening to this. I hope it was some type of inspiration for you guys. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to message me on Instagram, and I will be more than happy to share anything with you guys. I also have a highlight there if you guys want to see my trip to Cuba, everywhere that I visited. And yeah, so I will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye.
Overcomfort Podcast is a production of iHeart's My Cultura podcast network.